Right, welcome everyone to the first office hours of this cohort. Let me just spotlight Liz and I for the time being, and then we can get going. I'll just run through quickly the format of these office hours. Basically, they are just an hour of open Q&A. We generally ask people to put their hands up. I will spotlight them, and you can come on and ask Liz any questions you want. If you don't want to come on, then that's fine as well. Just drop your questions in the chat. I'll monitor those, keep an eye on all of those. And yeah, I'll sort of interject whenever those questions come in and feed them to Liz. Otherwise, it's sort of open floor as to what questions you want to ask. If you want to ask some gear related questions, I know Liz has some thoughts on that in terms of, we obviously had that session on Thursday. So, I mean, that's obviously one field of things, but literally nothing's off the table with these sessions. So please do ask anything you want, and hopefully you'll find some value in the insights that Liz provides. Obviously, Liz started her channel 6 months ago during cohort 1, and it's since grown to 65,000 subscribers now, I think. So yeah, any questions about starting as a beginner or first 6 months of YouTube or that kind of thing, it's always a good field to aim for. Yeah, Liz, do you want to say anything before we start?
No, I'm just looking forward to it. Slightly worried because I feel like looking at someone's channel, everything looks so put together and polished in the end, and then I feel like there's always this like heartbreaking moment when you see that it's a complete chaos in the background. So yeah, looking forward to exposing the chaos, but let's do it.
Cool. We've already got a hand up, so let's go with Ahmed.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sweet. So my question is more so about like content. So for example, let's say you have a content idea. How do you then distinguish should this be a search video, a suggested video, or a browse video? I.e., like how do you know which type of video you're targeting? And then does your content strategy change at all based on that? So thumbnails, titles, and even the content itself. Would you sort of make any changes based on that?
Okay, so okay, this is a very, very detailed question. So the one thing I want to admit about my channel is that I don't have a huge strategy behind it, in the sense that I'm a definite part-time YouTuber. It's like 5 or 10% of what I do with my time and with my life. So I don't give it, my channel is not very focused on growing YouTube or kind of making it as micromanaging or optimizing it basically for growth. So what my channel strategy is to put 2 videos out a week, the minimal viable thing that I can do for the next 2 years while I'm still a medical student. And if I can do that, that's kind of my goal. While I do have a slight idea sometimes of, okay, is this video going to be searchable? Is this video going to be browsable? Is this video going to be kind of suggested? I do keep it in mind because it's something that I know through like workshops and talking to different like people on YouTube, but it's not something that I think of necessarily for every single video. Having said that, to answer your question, when I first started, I very much wanted to grow my channel a lot. And I think the only way that I saw how to do it was through search. So I would try to use keywords. I would try to use like apps that people would know about, people that people would know about, so they would show up on the search kind of terms. What I found out is that even for the most searchable topics, search itself forms only a tiny percentage of the way that viewers find your video. So for example, if I would make a video on Notion, most people are finding this video through browse content or suggested content. And the maximum for me that anything has reached through search is around 10%. And I've talked to like SEO experts. So we had someone on our first cohort, he's an SEO expert. He optimizes his videos so well for searchability. And they do drastic, 30% of his views come from search, which is ridiculous. But I think that's the ceiling that you will reach, and it's not a high number. I would say in general, YouTube is very good at the suggested function. So it will show your videos to people who are interested in a similar thing. There's no need for me to kind of optimize it that much. So the strategy that I'm currently taking and that I've taken for the last few months is just to make videos clickable to, because then they will be clickable to other people because they will be suggested more, if that makes sense. So I focus only titles, thumbnails, first 30 seconds, and I don't care about search at all anymore.
Okay, no, that massively helps. And just a quick follow-up on that, since you mentioned it's a new channel. I think we mentioned this previously in one of the calls. is there any way of sort of like, I don't want to use the word boosting or anything, you know, anything which is like hack related, but what tips would you have when you have a brand new channel to get that initial push? Because obviously once you have subscribers, you sort of have a bit of initial push. But is there anything you can share with everyone that, you know, if it's a brand new channel, how do you get the initial subs and initial views?
So this massively depends on like what strategy you want for your channel and what content you have on your channel. Because like if you're saying, oh, I just want views on a channel, I don't care what the content is about, and then it's like, okay, how about you do a commentary on something that's hot at the minute? You're probably guaranteed to get like 10,000 minimum views and probably a few 100,000 on your first video. So that's like a way to get views, but then that's not a way for everyone to get views, because not everyone wants that style of channel. Sure. I would say within your content niche, the easiest way, I think, is to look at, like, create a list of channels that are similar to yours, that do content that is similar to yours, and see what video, and rank all their videos by views, and kind of see which ones have been done in the last few months, and what is a topic that is doing disproportionately well for their channel. So if someone's getting 16K views on each of their videos and they have one video with like 90,000 views, that's a hot topic. If 2 people have done that same video and it's a hot topic, then that's great, because you are therefore guaranteed in a way to get disproportionate views on that. So if you're starting from nothing, that will be a huge push. So I think that is one way. I would caution against most like methods that I've heard of. I don't know if you were like implying these kind of ways, but I've heard people like commenting on other people's videos will get you subscribers. I don't know, like that it's I've never done that. I would never recommend it. If you're wasting like 2 hours commenting a week, just then spend 2 hours scripting out a good video, because you have much more chance of getting real subscribers. So I wouldn't recommend those kind of like growth hacking methods, because I think they're pointless. As well as using people's like names in your videos. So like making a video about Ali Abdal, for example, is a way for that video to rank on search more. But again, it's just search ranking, or suggested videos if that video is very, very good. Which doesn't really guarantee. Like we had quite a few people in the first cohort which made a lot of videos about Ali. They did disproportionately well for their channel, but they didn't do anything for their channel in the long term, or in terms of a significant growth. So I would say in the very, very start, just putting out the best content that you can by looking at what's doing well from other people. Don't start from a blank page, because like you can't do that. I still do the same thing. So look at what other people are doing that's working for them and try that. And if your first 10 videos are 10 videos that have done disproportionately well for similar channels, you're in the best place to grow your channel, rather than just starting from nowhere doing what you think will work. If that makes sense?
That massively helps. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I was just going to add to something you said right at the start there, Liz, about how you treat YouTube, and I was just going to drop in the chat a video from the previous office hours, the last office hours that you did, when you talked about how much work you put into YouTube, which certainly had an effect on our last cohort. So we made it into a video itself. We clipped it up and made it into a video that I'll just drop in the chat there. In terms of YouTube at the start as a beginner, you can't really, as Liz said, there aren't too many tools that you can use to boost your channel. A lot of it is just hard work. And in that clip there, Liz kind of breaks down breaks down what she's done, and the hard work that she put in the first kind of 3 months in order to boost her channel. And that's, lots of people in the last cohort found that very useful. So it's worth checking out. Next hand was John Lee.
Hello, thank you. I've got a question for outsourcing. So following the last session, hopefully this won't be too hard. Following the last session, I went on Fiverr straight away, trying to find some people to do edits, because I spend hours on it because I suck, but that's okay. I tell myself I'm learning. But I think one of the things I got confused about is a lot of those Fiverr editors says the video length is a certain amount of time, generally between 5 to 15 minutes. Now, my confusion here is some of the videos I'm doing with my son, it's about board games, is playing a board game, unboxing a board game, and it takes ages. like I can't, I don't know how to make them shorter yet. So that could be a thing. But if the video is generally a bit longer, is this outsourcing still a focus? Or what's a smarter way to approach it?
I'll just say in advance that I'm terrible with outsourcing myself. I don't think there's a week that goes by that Ali does not tell me off for like doing my own editing. So I have issues with that. However, I have tried outsourcing in the past. I'm currently working with an editor. His computer just crashed, so that went out the window. But basically, what I would say in terms of outsourcing on Fiverr is like these editors, honestly, a lot of them are kind of reaching, especially if they're amateurs. So, and on Fiverr, it's usually not like crazy professionals. So if you have a video, like if I edit a video where I sit down and I talk and it needs literally 3 cuts because there's 3 moments where I kind of stuttered or did something in a 2-hour-long video, it's not going to be the same as the amount of work that you're going to do in a 3-minute video that's highly edited and like scripted and done differently. So if you have a video of like playing board games, I'm assuming that either you want to chop that out into a very short video or you just want to keep it long in the format that it is. So it's not going to take crazy editing. So I would like message these people directly and say, hey, my video is actually really long, but it doesn't take a lot of editing. This is just the thing that it needs. Does it still fall under this kind of requirement? Because I've realized that about Fiverr too. A lot of them are with like video lengths, which is very unfair because like if you edit yourself, you know that sometimes 3-minute videos take a lot longer than like a 50-minute video to edit. So it depends on the file project. So that's what I would recommend, that you just like DM them and say, is this okay? Because the video is a lot longer, but it doesn't need a lot more editing for that length. And some will be really cheeky and say, no, this is my price. That's fine. You can just ignore those. But a real editor will like, I think, understand that difference. Say, okay, this is fine. So, and you just need one person in the end of the day, because we're going to go into the outsourcing and working with editors later, but it takes a lot of work with one editor. So you just need one to say, okay, understand the kind of format of videos that you're doing and work with them. So yeah, that's kind of what I would recommend. Send them a DM and explain what exactly you're looking for. Say, hey, this isn't exactly, I know you've said this in your profile, but this is how much editing it takes. I've worked with other editors, or I've edited it myself. This is how much time it takes. It's the same as editing this much of a video. Do you want to try it out? Would that be okay? And then, yeah, that's how I would go about it.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's great.
Cool. Ethan.
Hi. So I'm hearing, Liz, that posting consistently is important, and working hard is important. When your own analysis, when you think about your growth from wherever you began to 65,000, what would you say? Was there anything that surprised you in terms of your growth, or when you sort of do your own analysis about how you got to where you are now? What was that? How did you get to 65K so far?
Okay, that's 2 different questions. So what surprised me and how I got there, I think are a bit different. So I think what surprised me, a lot of things along the journey surprised me from the start. I think how much work it takes definitely surprised me. Like I was not prepared getting into this, of like the commitment that YouTube would be and how much it would take from my life. And again, this is a very personal thing. It depends if you manage to outsource from the beginning, if you're not so much of a perfectionist, if you have a team, if there's so many ways that you can make that easier. But I will say it was very painful for me, and it still is quite painful, just the time that it takes. So that was very surprising. Yeah. I was very, I think, surprised, and I've said this in every Q&A, but at least for me, in my audience really wants to see personal videos. That very much surprised me in the beginning. I would try to do very technical things and try to explain stuff, and they would do okay. But then I do like a really random Q&A, and people would be like, "Oh my god, this is great!" It would get 3 times as many views, 3 times as many subscribers, and that was very shocking for me. Yeah. The amount that search doesn't help with YouTube was very shocking. That completely shifted my approach to YouTube for the better, in the sense that a vague title that seems appealing to your core audience will eventually do better, because those people will click on the video, YouTube will get the message, this video is good, it will be pushed out to more people. So that's a better strategy than like a dry, uninteresting, searchable term will just die as a video, and will probably do like accrue maybe like 100 views every 48 hours in the long term, but it's not a better strategy than just like something that seems appealing. how much personality plays into YouTube. I think I was not a big YouTube viewer myself before starting YouTube, which I think was a slight issue, because when I actually started thinking about it, I realized that, and we were talking about this in Building a Second Brain with Ali, where I told him that no one's watching you because of your productivity content only. Like, you're not the best productivity guy. Like, your content's not that great. No one's content is like 1 million subscribers or 1.8 million subscribers great.
Right.
It's just the small things that help. And I think the way that Ali phrases it is that he takes like himself and all his quirks amped up 30%, and that's the person that people want to see on YouTube. And I think that I dampen mine, actually. I don't amp them up, but I think I'm going towards the direction of like kind of showing the weirder sides of me on YouTube. And I think that does better in terms of, again, these are not necessarily strategies for growth, but these are strategies for people kind of subscribing to you in the first place and staying there. Because if people subscribe to you, stay there, watch your next video, that's how you're going to grow. That's how the algorithm says, okay, this works. So I haven't gone viral. Like, I think two or three videos of mine have gone viral. My day in the life as Ali's assistant, my day in the life as a medical student, and my apartment tour have gone like viral. But most of my other videos have been like more like standard, and most of my growth subscribers have not come from those videos. So this has also been shocking to me, that most of my subscribers have actually come like from my channel or from other videos, and not just from like the viral ones in general. So virality is a way to grow. I would just say that I think, yeah, those are the main things that kind of surprised me.
Super helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ava's.
Yeah, hello. I have a question kind of related to outsourcing and general content as well. When Ali described different kind of YouTubers, there was one extreme point where was, I don't know, documentary film and so on. Another point was where Ali said he is that talking head video. I'm trying to be somewhere in the middle. I'm adding more action, some kind of vlog style videos and so on. And when I don't have time, I just record talking head video. Yeah. And yeah, what I'm skeptical about outsourcing for this editing. I tried to hire a freelancer on Upwork, and most of them was horrible. Few of them was okay, but everyone who displayed, they provided some example work, and those was kind of Ali videos, but in very bad quality. And I'm just. I will, maybe you can share. You said you have problems with outsourcing. How do you see that? Is it even possible to find on Upwork and similar sites okay-ish editor? That's kind of one part of question. And second part of question, if you are trying, I see that I could outsource those talking head videos and so on. And I'm thinking that maybe currently I'm posting one video in a week. And I'm thinking that I could try to outsource one video in a week, which would be in the talking head video, and another video could be my own created video. But they probably will look that will be kind of oblivious that those are different type of videos, and maybe even that will be a bit oblivious that different editors created those videos. Do you see that as a problem? That is second question. Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of outsourcing, it is not easy. It's terribly, terribly difficult. And it's kind of the case that you find someone that is semi-okay and you work with them for a very long time to try to get them to a point where they are okay. So there's no editor that you'll find and you'll send a video and then they'll just do it great. The first time there are, but those are like 200, 300 pounds per video and above. Like that's the bare minimum average that people are paying. So if you're paying like 20, 30, 50 quid for a video, that's like ridiculously little. So the awareness that these people are probably not the best at what they're doing. So you're going to need to work with them for a very long time. When I started working with the editor that I currently have, I was like, he would do my videos in a very like flashy style, which is not my style. My YouTube is very toned down. We would do all these like zoom outs and zooms in and all these transitions. And I was like, no. I want nothing, like just nothing. And then he would still send me the zooms out. He wouldn't even realize like that's how over the top he was. But I could see that he was like understanding what I was saying. So he was working with me. So that's the potential that I was looking for. Someone who just like speaks good English, and I can say, hey, this is what I want you to do. Can you do it in good time with decent internet speed? Uses like the same, so I use Final Cut, they use Final Cut. I think these are the only requirements that I wanted. And then telling this person, okay, do you mind me telling you exactly what I want? No, okay, this is what I want. And then I went bare, like nothing on my video. Then I was slowly showing him, this is how I put text in. We still haven't gotten to that text stage, but that's kind of where I'm hoping to get to. So I think that's the benefit of having edited your videos first. You know what you want. So you can say, okay, what I want you to do is a clean A cut. Just send them the A cut and be like, no, this was a too long pause here. This is how I want you to do the A cut. Is that fine? Fine. Now you know that you have someone who can do A cut for you. And this is the only thing I've been using my editor for until now, is he just sends me the A cut, because it doesn't take too long. Like honestly, the most of the time for me is the actual editing, and I still haven't trained him to do that part yet, but it's a first step. It's one less thing that I need to do. And then when you do that for the talking head, you can be like, okay, the next thing that I want is the emphasis. Can you pick out the points that you think in this video you want to zoom in, if that's something that you do? Or can you pick out the points in this video wherein you do this transition that you do? Like, what's your style, right? So they find it, you're like, no, this is not it, this is it. And either they get used to it, or then you just send them the video in frame and say, in this minute, I want you to do these edits, and they do that. And then you can send them the B-roll that you want, or you can work with them long-term. So I would say, find someone who has potential and ask them, are you willing to do this long-term? I will pay you more. Like, this is what I'm looking to pay you when you get to this point. Are you happy for us to do this? Yes, okay, let's start working on it. And that's kind of the relationship that you create with an editor. But when you get that first video, if you're not paying like £800 or £400 for a video, it's going to be shit. Like, that's just the way that they work. Like, it's terrible. It's their style. Like, imagine this is someone who's being paid $5 to $10 per video. These are not like amazing YouTubers that are doing this, and the majority of YouTube is just like these crazy childish vlog style stuff. So it might not be your style, but you know your style. So take them down to nothing and build them up one by one by what you want. And that's like the way that I would approach working with editor. In terms of having two different editors, I don't know why you would need that, but if they're two very different style videos, your audience might notice. What's the problem? There are different style videos, like a sitting down.
Not hiring two different editors. I'm thinking that I will still edit one video per week, and another video I will send to outsource to editor, because one video could be just sitting and talking video, another video could be more, let's say, cinematic, something like that, some vlog style video. And I believe that could be really hard to get vlog style video edited as you like to see that. Therefore those videos could be different, looking different, style could be a little bit different, and so on. Yeah.
That's fine. Even if you would edit them yourself, if you're editing one just as a talking style and one as a vlog, the edit would be different. So it's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter. And I think with the vlogs, eventually you can get your editor. If you're working with him for 6 months, I can see him being like, make him watch your videos. Be like, I pay my editors to watch my videos. I'm like, log this time, please watch my videos so you can see what my style is like, because like, you don't want to waste their time too. Like, there are people like, I can't tell, they won't know what my style is. So the best way to do, I charge them for, like, they charge me for all of this stuff, for watching my videos, for training, for the time that I spend them, for like messages that I send. I'm like, please log this. I want this to be fun for you, but I really want this to be done well. Like, can we get to this point? And there's so many videos that I have never used from my editors. Like, they will send it to me. I'm like, fine, here's £100 for your time. And I'll edit the whole thing myself. And I'll tell them this is why, like, it didn't work. But it's just, I say this still not using an editor for most of my videos, that I still want to get to.
Yeah, I got your point. Yeah, I hired a girl from South Africa, which has the best English from all of them who have applied. Even, of course, better than mine. It sounds that English is his first language, and we don't have problems with communication. And seems that she understands what is needed, and I hired she, and yeah, we'll see how that will go.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Yeah, that was really helpful. Yeah.
You're very welcome. Good luck.
Oh, thank you.
Liam.
Hello.
Hiya.
Yeah, so my question's related to, I read it a little bit ahead, and I saw that you guys like to repurpose your content on Instagram and Twitter. I just wanted to know, have you had experience maybe repurposing the content on like TikTok, as well as the other platforms?
I don't like repurposing. It's a personal thing. I don't like it. I don't like it because I don't like other platforms. I hate Instagram. I hate TikTok. And I don't see the purpose of expanding there, if that makes sense. So
Oh, why is that?
I just don't like platforms. I think Instagram is really unhealthy. It focuses on completely the wrong things, in my opinion. I don't find it like valuable in any way for me. And it promotes so much, I think, negativity. And there's so many studies showing how negative it is towards mental health, especially of younger girls. So I have very like strong dislike for Instagram in general. So that's why it's a platform that I don't necessarily want to contribute to or spend time on myself. Twitter is different. It's fine. It's a bit more adult. It's okay. There's a lot of benefit to growing on Twitter. I just haven't spent the energy on doing that yet. TikTok, I just see it as like a childish platform. It might change. I might be completely wrong. But again, it's not, if it's not a platform that I consume or that I see value in, I don't see value in putting my content out there. And the thing is that the best way to grow on YouTube is on YouTube, because like there's, for example, we have examples. Ali's friend had 100,000 followers on Instagram. She opened her YouTube channel in the beginning and she only had a few hundred subscribers. Like it doesn't transfer, your audience doesn't come. So if you're thinking of growing YouTube through other platforms, that's a bad strategy. Like you'd better spending off that time on YouTube, because YouTube grows itself really, really well. However, it's good probably to have Instagram followers, and it's good probably to have Twitter followers. One thing that I will say is followers go themselves. So through my YouTube channel, I now have 23,000 subscribers on Instagram. Well, I don't post on Instagram. I don't use it. I don't even have the app on my phone. People just follow me because they search my name and they find my Instagram account, if that makes sense. Or I have like 1,700 followers on Twitter. Again, I don't really use Twitter. They just find me through my YouTube. So if you're growing on YouTube, you will grow on these other platforms passively. Repurposing, Ali will go into it. He's on the complete different side of the spectrum. He really loves repurposing, and I see the benefit to it, especially if you have a team. It doesn't take much to repurpose. The only things that I would personally repurpose is I would write blogs, and I would focus more on my website and create like blogs out of my videos, because I think writing is a good form of content that I agree with. But Instagram, I just don't like it, and TikTok, I just don't like it. So I don't focus on that.
That's really interesting you actually say that, because I somewhat agree with that. I assume Ali does it because it's from a business standpoint. It's probably really good for growth.
Yeah, it doesn't cost Ali anything. Like he has the content there already, and it's like a team doing it. And obviously there's no harm in having, and probably a lot of benefit in having, a strong presence across many platforms. If someone offered me 200,000 real Instagram subscribers, of course I'd be like, oh yeah, that's great. If suddenly I could click my fingers and 200,000 people on Instagram would like follow me, I'd be like, okay, this might be useful. I'll take it. But I don't necessarily want to try it.
Would you say maybe obviously grow using YouTube, as it's a pretty decent platform, but also maybe focus on your personal website because you have more control over how the content is arranged there?
Yeah, that's what I would do personally. Okay. Again, a very personal standpoint. There's right ways and wrong ways to do Instagram, I'm sure, and TikTok and other stuff. Ali's grown well on all these platforms too. I think it's doable. Repurposing in general, I think it's great, because you put in like 99% of work and then you just do one more step and you have a whole other new form of content. So it's great. I just don't like it.
No, that's really interesting. Thank you so much then.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just on that point, I think Liz is right in terms of we don't sort of consciously post to Instagram in order to drive people to YouTube. We very rarely, if ever now, link our videos on Instagram to YouTube, because the interface between the two apps is not particularly good. And it's more about building up the business and the brand rather than funneling people towards YouTube as a whole. But yeah, everyone's strategy is different. Repurposing in general is good. As we just said with the blog post, there's lots of different ways you can do it. You don't have to do Instagram, you don't have to do Twitter. You can do TikTok. Lots of people have grown on TikTok. From cohort 2, there's a couple of people who've grown quite well on TikTok. So yeah, it's up to you which platform you choose to go to. But if you've got content on YouTube and you're happy to kind of grow on another platform, then you've got content there already. It's useful to use, but there's no pressure to use it at all. We had a couple of questions from the chat. How much does the text and content in the video description affect your video searchability and recommendation by the algorithm? What should you include or not include in the video description? Liz, do you want to take that? Or
this is like an algorithm question. which I'm not sure like I'm in a position to like definitely answer. It helps for sure, but depends on, like, for example, let me give an example for this.
I think while Liz is just looking that up, we had a guest workshop from TubeBuddy in the last cohort, and they actually made a point of saying this, that the first 200 characters in the video description is actually quite important to the algorithm. So as long as you get your kind of title words and your keywords, but not keywords in the search for like SEO, but keywords as in reference keywords to the video in that first 200 characters, that's the important bit you need to be focusing on in terms of the video description. So the algorithm does look at it, but again, as we'll re-emphasize throughout this whole course, do not get caught up with thinking about the algorithm. Optimize your videos for humans, not machines. That is a far better way of going. Liz, do you want to carry on?
I agree. I would say I would not care about this at all. The reason for that is this video has 380,000 views. Look at my description. I should have probably asked in advance what length would be ideal. La la la, ha ha ha, I had some sushi. Please don't hate me. Like, it's completely random. This video was a joke. I did not put this video out seriously. I showed it to my mom before and like making it public. She was like, this is pitiful quality. Why would you put this on the internet? This is embarrassing for you. Look at the views on this video. Like, it does not matter. It might help, but I would say it doesn't matter. If you're sitting down for 20 minutes writing your description, I would really question what you're doing with your life, because if you would spend 20 minutes on getting a good hook for your video, that's a million times more helpful than spending it on the description. Having said that, I would not discourage anyone. It is part of the algorithm. They do count it. They do count the first things you say in your video. They do count your title. They do count everything. But does it stop you from growing or your videos going viral? Absolutely not. If you have limited time like me, don't care about it, is what I would say. You'll be absolutely fine.
Cool. Vic.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I just want to ask, in one of the previous sessions, Ali has mentioned when we asked regarding branding your channel. So he said the channel's name should ideally be your name. So what are your takes on this? Is there an advantage of naming your channel any differently than your name, or does it affect your channel if you have named it differently than your own name?
Absolutely, yes. I would say 99% of the cases, name your channel your own name. The internet has changed, I think. Like, I remember channels that I went through my old YouTube channel that I used to watch videos through, and they were all educational, and all of these channel names were like company names or like brand names or random names. I think the way that the internet works now is more about individuals and people, and Ali always says people want to buy from people. If you're thinking of selling something, which might be selling, you know, yourself, which is what we're doing on the internet in like a good way, hopefully, but then you need to be a person. Put your face on your channel, like your channel thing, round thing. You need to have your face on it and you need to have your name on it. And I think that's the bare minimum that you can do. It will definitely, I think, affect your channel if you don't have that. The only exception is if you are a brand channel. So if like Apple opened a channel and I was like the project manager for the channel, I wouldn't call that channel Elizabeth Phillips because it's completely like silly in that case. I would obviously call it Apple because much more people are likely to follow the brand. Or if you have 6-7 people in charge of a channel, then obviously name it a common name so that, you know, that it's not tied to one specific person. Or if you're opening a channel for a different purpose and you think, oh, my long-term strategy is that I don't want to be on this channel, I want other presenters there, it's more about the content idea, then definitely name it the thing. Like, we're probably starting a channel for the Part-Time YouTuber Academy, and obviously we won't call it Ali Abdal, we're probably going to call it the Part-Time YouTuber Academy because it's like a brand channel. We want anyone to be able to put videos out there. But if you're the only person making the videos, most videos, you should have your name on there because that's, I think, what people want to see. I'm a million times more likely myself to subscribe to an individual than to just something vague.
Understood. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Cool. We've got another question from the chat, which is probably quite relevant to your video this morning, Liz. Any tips on where to find B-roll clips? I've seen other YouTubers use clips from films, like your video this morning, as well as GIF style reactions. Not sure where to find them and what the copyright issues are.
So the ones that I got on my video were all from YouTube and from the film itself. So just like screen recording. So just screen recording and finding the clips from there. If you're a premium member, you do have access to the copyright thing with Legal Eagle, which is very complex. But I think the main points, and correct me if I'm wrong, Angus, are that you want to stay away from things that could come back to you. So for example, big companies, you don't want to take BBC stuff. You don't want to take, this is a huge problem for like reaction channels, but you don't want to take companies' videos. You don't want them to be over 20 seconds long, especially with volume on. And the general consensus is to stay away from them. But if you have like a 20-second clip of The Simpsons, that's fine with no volume on it. There's small things I think I've heard that people do. So they flip their videos around, so they mirror them, or they slightly change their speed to like 1.05, just so it doesn't catch as easily if they're searching for it. But in general, using big corporations is not a good idea. Using movie clips is fine as long as they're short. Using other YouTubers is generally absolutely fine, especially if you know them personally. So yeah, we like on Ali's channel, we always use Matt Devilla, we always use Thomas Frank, and they're fine with it. They use it. They even have like a shared B-roll like folder, so they share each other's ones. But you can always copy your screen and copy anything on it. Basically, should be fine most of the time, as long as it's short, sweet, ideally does not have any volume on, and doesn't portray the company in a bad light.
Yeah, the main issue where people run into problems with copyright on YouTube is with music. So it's the music things that we've really got to stay clear of, because that people are really hot on that. So otherwise, small clips, GIFs, movie clips, whatever, it's generally fine. You know, you've seen even in things like sport, people put together sports compilations, that kind of thing. Those exist. There's no issues with those. So yeah, there are some issues around some monetization, that kind of thing. But if you watch the Legal Eagle kind of bonus resource, then that should give you some ideas as well. So yeah, generally it's fine. I would just stay clear of putting any music on videos that isn't sort of from Epidemic Sound or some other music sharing site that you subscribe to. Cool. Jessica.
Hello. So my question is, do you use TubeBuddy or vidIQ for coming up with titles for your videos? Like I'll have topics and then I'll use TubeBuddy to like search it. It will say if that title is like a good title, but I'm finding those videos aren't getting as many views as like some older videos where I didn't use that. So I just don't know if this is even a good tactic.
I've never used it. I tried the TubeBuddy one. I didn't like it either. I think it's more focused on search than anything else, I think, which is not necessarily a good idea. And it might just like recommend you keywords that when are put together are not that interesting. Like they're searchable, but they're not interesting. I think generally with my titles, I just go with my gut, or what I've seen has worked with other people, or what I would personally click on the most. But I don't use the search, like the extensions for titles.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Yala, welcome back, first of all.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Liz. I was wondering, like you said, you use a lot of time and effort into YouTube. I think it's like 30 plus hours a week or something. And my question is, what do you feel like is the 20% of the 80-20 rule there? Like, what do you use a lot of time on that is maybe not worth it? And if you had to use a lot less time, where would you put that effort?
Editing. I spent like a lot of that time is editing, but I love editing so much and I find it really fun. Like I did my last video and I was like, oh, I'm really enjoying this. I've never done this before. And I always try to like, the last 2 videos, I really spent a lot of time on editing. I think uni was over, so I was like, oh, I really want to get into this. So I really enjoy editing, but I know that it is a time sink in the end of the day. People do realize, but it's only my subscribers who are subscribed already who are like, oh, this was different, this was better. And I'm like, oh, you're already subscribed clearly because you know too much about me. So it's not adding, I guess, in that way. That's a very cynical view, but I think that's slightly true. So yes, if I would change anything at the snap of my fingers, it would be to have an editor, because then I could put out like 3 videos a week or more if I had someone editing everything.
And where do you think, like, what part of the time you spend on video do you think is like most valuable, or where would you not skimp on the time you're spending currently?
Oh, titles, thumbnails, hook. titles, thumbnails, hook, that's the three things that are just the absolute most important. I spent very little time on thumbnails. Well, I spent like 6 hours on a thumbnail on average, and I still haven't, that hasn't changed from when I started. But to me, that's still not enough because I don't like my thumbnails that much. I don't know if I'm just not good at it and I will become better within this time frame, or if I need to be spending more time on it. Oh, sorry, when I say hook, I refer to like the first 30 seconds of the video. So if that's where I need to be spending more time, I think, and where I would spend more time and which moves the needle the most is just those three things. I definitely did not appreciate that to start with my channel. But I always know when I put up the video based on the thumbnail alone, is this video going to do well or not? And I feel like I have like a 90% accuracy with like, oh, this is not going to do that well. And sometimes when I'm like, oh, this is okay, and then it does really, really well. So yeah, I feel as though I need to focus a lot more on the thumbnails.
Is there any method to, like, do you have any advice on how to focus on the hook? Do you just like go by feeling and kind of write about it a lot and think about it a lot? Or is there anything?
It's massively depends on the video style. I spend a lot of time thinking about it. And when I look at others' videos, I spend a lot of time seeing how they do the introduction in their video. I also love screenwriting in general. I don't do any screenwriting. I love reading about screenwriting and kind of like what makes things interesting to people, what kind of story writing makes things interesting to people. And I think the main thing is the contrast thing. So the hero's journey, in that you start somewhere, you end somewhere, and those are polar opposites. And I think having those both in the introduction, that there was a change that happened here, and that journey is what's going to be explained in the video, I think is the most interesting way to make a video interesting. Earlier today, I actually took a note on my Apple Notes, which I usually do, where I was reading again about screenplaying because I really like it, and this person was roasting the sort of movies that go along the lines of how I got here. So they start something blah blah blah, and then you may be wondering how I got here, and then they go back to the journey. And I was like, oh, that's such a good way to create a YouTube hook. And I'm probably definitely going to try that in my videos, and probably different variations of this, where you start something, you say something that's a bit weird, and then you're like, you may be wondering how I got here, boom, into the video. And I was like, oh, this is happening. I'm using this next time. So I spend a lot of time trying now. Like I said, this realization of hook thumbnail title only happened very recently for me. So now I'm kind of, when I approach videos, when I approach books, when I approach things, I'm like, how are authors, how are YouTubers, how are people making things engaging in a short amount of time? I think TikTok might be a great place to check this out, by the way, because I probably should download the app for that, to just see, because they manage to do that too. They just want to take your attention in like 5 seconds. And I think that's how I would do it. Like the guaranteed formulas, and then trying to fit that into your narrative is a way to do it. In my latest video, I don't know, I just put it out, so it will take a few days for the analytics to come through, but starting with a voiceover with someone else's like face, which was the Inception thing, is one way, and focusing a huge amount of editing and transitions in your first few seconds, I think is a good way to kind of, yeah, keep attention.
Cool. Ginger.
Hi, Liz. I have saw your build my second brain video, and the process of drafts and inbox was awesome. I think is that the Zettelkasten note-taking method?
Yeah.
I'm curious about how long did it take you from come up from an idea and collect related contents and generate the contents into a video?
It massively depends on the video. Let me share my screen and show what my video thing looks like. So it really depends on the video. Some of them are, let's see, so this one that I put out today, I've been thinking of this for like months and months now, because I just didn't want to do it. I felt very nervous putting out this video. So this took a long time to put together. This is probably the most text that I have on my videos. Most of my videos look, let's see, look something like this. So this is my script for the video. These are like potential titles. This is my script. So this probably took like under 2 minutes to put together. And let's see, this one was very scripted, I think. Yeah, this was very scripted. So it very much depends on the type of video and how long it takes. I would say for the majority of my videos, not too long, like under 5 minutes, which is very embarrassing, because I never script out my videos. Even when I script them, I don't read the script because I can't do that. So I still go back to bullet points. So most of mine are bullet points where I think, oh, I want to do this one thing. What are 5 things I could say about it? That's my video script done. It just stays there. And then depending on how, sometimes if when I'm about to film and I come to it, I'm like, oh, do I want to do this video? Oh no, I don't know what to say. It doesn't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel right. I'll leave it there. And then I'll still think about it. So throughout the next week, if something comes to me throughout the week, I'm like, oh, this would be a good way to start it. And then I'll just add it to the video. So that video may be like kind of simmering for a few weeks, some simmer for like a few months now. Again, it's only been 6 months since I started, but there are some videos that like I've made now that I've had from the very beginning that I thought I wanted to do for my channel. And then sometimes this has happened 2 or 3 times where I have an idea and I'm like, oh, I want to film this right now, and then I don't even have a script and I just sit down and film it, and it just like just something that I might have thought of at the moment. So it varies so much between the different types of videos.
So most of your videos are bullet points and you just look at the bullet points and freestyle?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Zach.
Can you watch my video and tell me what you think?
Yeah. Let's share it for everyone.
This is my favorite painting that I own. Francisco Jose de Goya y Lucientes. Goya lived from 1746 to April 16, 1828. In the year of our Lord, obviously. He painted this magnificent piece somewhere between 1819 and 1823, and was part of Goya's 14 Pinturas Negras, or black paintings. It is entitled Saturno devorando a su hijo, or in English, Saturn devouring his son, or in American, Saturn's munching on his boy. Now, you may be wondering, why would you put this up in your house? Are you advocating cannibalism? What is wrong with you? 1, a lot actually. I rate my current existence at 4, dumpster flyers at 5. 2, only cannibalism I can possibly recommend in good faith is cannibalizing leftists because they are just so tasty. But finally, and most importantly, 3, this painting has a plethora of meanings that speak to my very essence.
I love it. I love it. It's so good. I'll watch the rest of it and give you a comment. Please tag me on Circle. No, this is brilliant. This is so great. I love your editing. I love your music. I love the music is really hard because I don't see, like, I can never add music onto my videos. Like in that way where you're just adding it at the right times. It was funny. I love art. I love that painting. Yeah, it was brilliant. 10 out of 10.
Thank you. Yeah, I start with the mythology and then I get into it temporality and then I get into like meta at the end. So, and I use lots of creepy Legend of Zelda music because it's just perfect. So if anybody wants to use that, they won't copyright tag you on those.
No, I absolutely love it. This is brilliant. There's different the type of videos that I would watch on YouTube too. So yeah, he's great format.
Shahid, your name. There we go.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Hi.
there we go.
Very nice seeing you and everyone. So my question is for basically you, Elizabeth and Ali. You both of you are from medical backgrounds, right? And both of you chose not to make videos about the medical topics. So what's the reason for that? And the second follow-up question will be, what are your recommendations / suggestions / thoughts that if someone opens a channel with the medical topics on it? That was like wondering for a long time.
Okay, so I do have medical topics on mine. So I do talk about medical school. I do have medical vlogs. I talk about advice for medical students, revision schedules for medical students. But I don't talk about, I think you mean like medical
topics. Yes, like
physiology.
Yes,
okay.
Physiology or like a disease and explaining about that and management and stuff like that.
Okay. The reason for that, so I love medical education. I actually have a diploma in medical education, and I work towards it in higher education for like university. I love it. Very passionate about it. the reason I don't talk about that on YouTube is, why would I? Like, that becomes like, it's a very saturated niche, and it's very difficult to stand out. And I don't think that I would add necessarily a lot to what has already been said. I get asked a lot, like, oh, what resources do you use? What's the best book to use for medicine? I'm like, Wikipedia. Like, I'm not huge on, like, I don't think there's anything very special about different resources for medical knowledge or explaining medicine, really. There's people who do it brilliantly already. I'm definitely not one of the best in the world. It would be a lot of work for me to get amazing. And I'm not sure that it's something that I want to do in YouTube. It's very difficult, I think, to stand out on YouTube doing that. And I guess, what would the long-term strategy be there? So it would be for me to be a medical educator, to sell courses about medical topics. And I want to be a doctor more than that. So I don't see it as a valuable thing for me to invest time on in YouTube. That if you think of that, you would stand out either like doing amazing animations like Osmosis, which I really don't like Osmosis, actually. So it's, yeah, I think it's been done brilliantly by other people. I'm not sure that I would be in a position, especially as like a young medical student, to kind of a young medical student, not a young person as medical student in general, but like quite junior in medicine. I think I'm not in the position to add much to the conversation in a valuable way. It would be a learning thing for me, and I'm not sure that's something that I want to invest in. While things that I feel really passionate about are just like note-taking and reading and productivity and things like that. So that's kind of, and it's, I think, the same thing that Ali answers too, that he initially thought that he wanted to do it, but then it turns out that it's just so much work to distinguish yourself, with the result not being something that either of us are necessarily that interested in.
Okay, yeah, because for Ali, I think he at one time opened a channel with the name of Appendix.
Yeah,
he was thinking about that towards the medical topics. Then that he stopped, and then he went to the productivity. And then when you started your channel, you started with the same, I would say, the same productivity topics, which I still see. The last video was still like about how to use Mac effectively and use of Alfred and all that. Yeah. So are you using it? Are you doing it intentionally, that is helping with the growth of the channel? Or I mean,
for the kind of the productivity videos?
The productivity videos and almost the same topics, like which other channels have also been doing.
I think again with mine, I caution in, like, there's not a lot of thinking behind them. It's kind of like with that video, for example, I had to film a video for the next day and I didn't have anything ready, and I've been working so much on the academy that I literally had no time. And it's just the easiest thing for me to do, is because this is, you know, what I do most of the time, is I am an assistant, so I have to find quick ways to do things. So it's just like the easiest thing for me to do. There's no strategy, I think, behind that. If I were strategizing for growth, I wouldn't go down the productivity route. If I was strategizing, that's my strategy to get things done, but not for growth. I wouldn't grow in that way.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that was my main. I don't know. This is the main friction for me, actually. I was thinking, I still am thinking that, okay, maybe I should make videos about the medical topics, about education, about the disease and the management. But again, on the back of my mind, I was thinking that, how will I stand out when there are so many good resources out there? So what should I do? And then I'm not a very creative person as well. So, so that's, I don't know. So still I'm trying to decide my niche, or like what to make videos about. So I don't know how to decide that.
Worth trying both and seeing where it goes. But again, I would just really think of like what your goal is in the end of the day, and is it worth working very hard on this, because it's a very difficult thing to do. It's a lot more difficult for me to research how to structure something about the management of appendicitis than it's for me to talk about how to work fast on my computer. So for me, it's like the obvious choice, but it depends on you if that's your like wanted result then.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Cool. We've got 4 more hands for this session. We will get through all of you guys. We'll happily run over a couple of minutes. But just there's a question from the chat from a little while ago, but I thought we'd ask it because I got some opinions on this as well. Is there a recommended length for your videos, or a maximum that you should try to exceed? My channel is focused on deep technical content and will have code walkthrough tutorials, which potentially last 45 minutes or more. I've seen videos that are 3 or 4 hours long with really high view counts. What are your thoughts on this?
My personal thoughts are that if a video is informational, it should be as short as possible, because no one wants to linger on that for too long. But then I think the best example that was given to us was in a workshop, I think it was VidIQ, I'm not sure. They said if someone is searching for a video on how to like fix their fridge lights, and the video is 26 minutes, and there's another video that's 2 minutes, which one are they going to click? Obviously the 2-minute one, because you know they just want to get this thing done. It doesn't take too long. They want to move on with their life. But if there's a video on like how to fix your car's engine, and there's a video that's 146 minutes, and there's another video that's half an hour, they're obviously going to click the half an hour one, because they're like, in 1 minute and 46 seconds, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like, I need more detail to this. So it obviously I think it depends on the topic and on the things that you are explaining. So the longer videos probably do better, because it's a topic that needs to be gone into in depth. And if someone just did it in 2 seconds, you would have to be super pro to understand what the hell is going on, or maybe no one can understand what the hell is going on. So, but even the longest and most complicated topic, I would keep it as short as possible, because people's attention is so fickle on YouTube. No one wants to stay there for very long. So I would cut it down, especially in the intro. If you're like, oh, this is me, this is my background, so I'm teaching you, like, no one cares. If it's an educational video, it's just like 1, 2, 3, let's get into it. This is what I do. Keep it as short as possible. If the shortest time is like 40 minutes, I don't know how to code, so it might be necessary. That's fine. But if it's if there's parts of that code that you can explain separately, maybe do that video and do like 5 videos on like, 2-3 minutes each. That would still be very, very clickable. So in general, the shortest you can get any sort of informational content while getting the point across, I think, is the best way to do things. And I prefer to err on the side of people saying, oh, this wasn't too clear, can you go into it a bit more in the comments, rather than no one watching the video and clicking off because they're bored to death, if that makes sense.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that was the analogy I was going to use, the fridge in the car. I think it's a good one. And, if it's a walkthrough, then maybe it does need to be a bit more detail. But again, I think, as Liz said, you need to make it as short as it can be. Whether that is 45 minutes, then fine. But I think a lot of people fall into a trap of sort of trying to provide as much value as content as possible, and thinking that longer videos are better videos. And on YouTube, it's really not. You really need to be aware of audience attention spans on platforms like YouTube, and in the modern age, really in general, on social media. Okay, so last 4 questions. John, you're first in the queue.
Thank you again. This is in relation to backgrounds. I don't know whether you can see my background. I'm directly placed in front of the toilet door. It's terrible. Knowing this video at the front of the toilet, but I have spacing issues around where I live. So my dilemma is, should I invest in a green screen? How well do they work? Or should I have a big project with my wife and negotiating her to sacrifice part of the house for what I do at YouTube?
Okay, green screens, I feel they're terrible in general. Ali agrees, he hates them too. Some people do them okay, like weather presenters. I'm joking. Like, some people actually do them okay, but most green screens look obvious and look quite ugly. So I don't like them, watching them. I would say, if you can get your camera against like a corner in a room and you sit close to it, and then if you have like a kind of a blurry background, kind of a darkish in the back and a few lights here and there just to break it up, it could look great no matter what's in your background. But yeah, I would say the position you're in right now is not ideal. It's the same with me. Like, I started my videos here because this was where my light was, and I didn't have a light. So for the first few videos, I was sitting here. It's so cluttered, it's so ugly. So I only have one angle in my room that semi works, which I use in every one of my videos, and everyone is sick of me first. So I would say probably I wouldn't say sacrificing part of your house, so working around it. If there's like a corner where you can put up a camera, if there's any peace and quiet for like a few kind of hours, then I think that would be perfect. But or even, there's these great videos on YouTube of how to make the most out of a small space. So even if you have like one wall and you just paint it like a black color, and you have one like small couch there and a few lights behind it, that would kind of create separation between the couch and the wall. That's enough for it to look super pro. I don't know if Angus, do we have this video? Because I don't remember what it's called.
I'm literally just looking for it. I'll try and find it.
So much. You're the best. Yeah, Angus will link it. That's so good. that's what I would recommend.
Okay, thanks for your info so far. I guess another problem of mine is because I need so much space for the board or for the games that I unpack with my son. So in the corner of the room probably wouldn't work very well. Or do I know what you mean? Is there any hope?
I think lighting is the main thing. Lighting is the main thing.
Okay.
If you figure out a good way to kind of just light one thing, have a bit of darkness in the background, have some few lights in the background just to make the space look a bit bigger. Yeah, Becky and Chris also have great videos on like making the most out of small spaces. It might even be that you just get like a wooden board, and you put it up against the wall for it to look just, there's ways, I think there's definitely ways around it without having to resort to a green screen because they're so ugly. But yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Cool. I'm just linking that video in the chat. There we go. Liam.
Yeah, so as we're making our first like videos on like my favorite things, is there any like tips and habits we can implement now to get like viewer retention up, or get people to keep watching our videos?
A good hook. Make the video as short as possible. Don't make it, there's a fine balance between making it personal and not too personal, especially at the start. So if you go into a life story, no one really is going to care because they don't know you. But if you add quirky short bits about your personality that kind of break through things, then that's fun because it's interesting. Making jokes, if that's in like your style of personality or like style of channel, would be a good way to break it up. But in general, keeping it as short as possible, lots of B-roll, so you're breaking through things. If no one knows you, they're unlikely to sit through a video of you sitting down and talking, unless you're talking about something really serious or that they're very interested in. And in my favorite thing, it's probably going to be something like quite lighthearted, so you're unlikely to have that retention. So I think it's a great video to practice a lot of B-roll, a lot of angles of your favorite thing. Short video, to the point, try to make it funny because it's a lighthearted topic. And yeah, that's what I would generally recommend for it.
Okay, thanks so much. And just quickly, how do you know when a niche is too saturated?
You don't. I come from like a hugely saturated niche of like medical students.
Yeah.
I think the saturation is probably not the biggest issue. Oh, this is such a huge topic. I talk about this a lot. Okay, so what do you have in mind?
Myself. Oh, I wanted to make videos about like creating a race car at my university.
A race car?
Yeah.
Is that a saturated niche? I've never heard.
Why? I don't know.
Okay, you're probably safe. You're probably safe. I've never heard of that. But I think a niche is never too saturated because like a niche is not a static thing. You can always go deeper. We just go one step deeper on like doing this thing as a person living in the city, doing this thing as a person of this gender, doing this thing as a student, doing this thing as someone as this age. You're already like creating a new niche, breaking through a new niche. And also, I don't think it's how many people do it. It's like how unique can you be in that niche, and that uniqueness might literally be the way that you word things. It might be your accent, it might be your genuinely personality is the thing. So how standoutish is your personality or likable is your personality, and then the niche becomes a non-problem because people will watch anyway. So
all right, yeah, okay.
There's always people who like massively break through very saturated niches just because of their personality, or video production quality, or there's a lot of things that you can stack in your favor. So if it's a saturated niche, it's probably a good niche because a lot of people, there's clearly an audience there. And people who are interested in something generally know quite a few different YouTubers who do the same thing. I don't know anyone who's like, oh, I only know Ali in the medical niche. I don't know Paramedic. Everyone who knows Ali knows Paramedic. Like the medical people who know Ali know Paramedic. So I think people watch a few YouTubers in their niche. You can just be one of them. It's more about how can you be unique, special, high quality, good videos rather than picking a niche that's not saturated, if that makes sense.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Cool. Taz.
Hi guys. I have a question for Liz and Angus, if that's okay. Can I start with Angus? My window is there. I can tell on the screen, people call me Casper, the light's coming on me so hard. So my question for you is, I will be filming in here, hopefully, to get the background here. So I won't have any of the bed in it, but where am I shifting to, if you know what I mean? Because ideally I'm just trying to get the wall in here without the bed, but is it okay if I turn this way and I still have this problem here with the light coming on me?
My general advice with lighting is to try and avoid natural light as much as possible if you can.
So
and
close the curtains.
Yeah, obviously put out some artificial light because you don't want to be in the dark. But the problem with natural light is you can't control it, right? You know, if the cloud comes over the sun, if something you know, it just makes it a lot more difficult. Whereas artificial light, you've got complete control, and so it's just a whole lot easier if you get a half decent artificial light and use that to light your screen, light your shots. As Ali said on Thursday, you know, there is a lot of sort of theories around light, what light you need and that kind of thing. And yes, you can make it really good if you have particular like 3 or 4 different lights in the room, but what you really need is just one massive light, as Ali said. And as I said, natural light is impossible to control. And so if you've got one artificial light, you can control exactly what the intensity is and that kind of thing. And that should help you solve your problem of the natural light issue and overexposure. That's what I would suggest. Liz, I don't know if you've got any other thoughts.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in the UK, aren't you?
Yeah.
No, natural light is no. It's so ugly. If you're like somewhere near the equator or like south of France and you have like 3 hours of golden hour and you have this beautiful villa that's in the right angle and it just gets this really soft diffused glow and you look like you're in paradise, I'm like, yeah, go for the natural light. But here it's literally disgusting. Like, it's so bad. I've never used natural light in my videos. It's completely horrible. It might be the location of like my flat, or it might be the location of this island, but the main thing is I hate it, would not recommend it. Close the curtain and get a nice light is what I would say too.
Thank you. Could I ask you the second question? I think we touched on this last time, and I'm kind of split down the middle. My kind of channel, I'm doing it with a friend, is we come from separate backgrounds, but mine is predominantly legal. So I do want to be talking about legal things, not like yourself, not about the law itself, more about just things for law students, etc. But I mainly want to go into building a brand, in the sense of I have a vision for a brand that I want to build, which is all kind of in like exploring the mind and going on this journey and taking the audience with us. But my vision for that brand is Mindvocate, and it kind of ties in everything into the idea. So it's like, if I use my name, because I've got a vision for the brand in the future, let's say I want to do retreats, you know, merchandise, things like that, I would less be able to do these things if I'm using my name. And I feel like the channel is focused on one area, which is the mind. So would you recommend going with a brand name when I want to branch into these things in the future, or to use my name? Because the predicament is, if I use the brand name from the get-go, then it doesn't really lend itself to talking about the law issues and the things like that, because the channel's talking about the mind and things like that. Why am I then going into the law kind of things? And yeah, so I'm a bit split with basically the approach to take, name or brand. I was wondering if you could give me your advice.
Okay, I have a lot of questions.
Right.
So in terms of, I always would say go with your name, because let's say, for example, Ali decided now that, oh, he's going to do this retreat called the Friend Zone. Everyone who's like 80,000 people who are subscribed to his newsletter and are true fans will know about it. Let's say 1 in 1,000 of them would like kind of go to the retreat. That's still 80 people. It's still a hugely successful thing. He's not going to call it the Ali Abdal, but he's going to call it the Friend Zone because the fans will know about it. So you don't need to call your channel whatever you want to brand yourself, of like what your brand is going to be in the future. It's going to be this brand by this person, known by the people who are interested in you in the first place, or people will come to you through the brand thing in the second instance. These things will be Google searchable, they'll be findable, they'll be there. There's no need to start from the beginning with a brand that like is way ahead in the future. The second thing that I wanted to ask is, what you said you have 2 people doing the chat. Why?
Why there's 2 of us?
Yeah.
Well, we came together and we thought, because he's in the States and I'm in the UK, and we were both kind of interested in this topic. Would you say it's a bad idea doing a channel with another person, or would you say it's better to going at it alone?
There's no one answer to that. That's a very, I think, nuanced question. It can work. There's Max and Matty.
Right.
Angus, what are they called? Like they're two like brothers, and they're like doctors in the US, and they have a channel for like what are they called? Matty and
I'm not sure. You're on your own with this one.
I think Rhett and Reich, something like that. I think another one.
They're basically two brothers. They're both like medics, and they do they have a YouTube channel together for like medical school stuff. So it's fine. Camp is doable. It's okay. The remote guys. So would it be under your name or his name?
That's something I was hoping to ask you as well. Like, it sounds like what you're saying then is go the name route, keeps your options open. So could we do it under both our names, under Taz and Adam?
Could be Taz and Adam.
Or is it better to have certain, is like, could I ask just the last question? It's going really off what you've just brought up, is it strategically wise, like in terms of strategy, would it be a better strategy to potentially do our own channels and then potentially down the line link up? Then we build our own names, our own brands, and we could, down the line come together if that is something we want to do at that time.
I would be very, very, I don't see myself, if someone would have said, oh, let's create a channel together.
Yeah.
My first channel, I would have never said yes. Just because that's like kind of, you want to create a brand for yourself. I think in general, that would be my main advice. Again, it's very specific. So it comes down to how much time do you have to invest in this? Are you both putting money into this together? If you do it on your own, you can't have an editor. If you do it with someone else, that's the only way you can have an editor. So there's a lot of like issues around this. If this is the best way for you to actually have a channel between having one and not having one at all, then it's probably best to go into it with someone else and work with him on it. I would say in general, if you're looking to build a personal brand, you still can do it with someone else. Questions are like, how well do you know this person? How well do you get along with this person? If you're creating like a whole business together, that's like, like I say, it's a huge commitment. I would say definitely doable. I know like Journey to Med, these two girls, they're on 20K now. They have their channel together. They say it's the best thing ever because they only need to do one video each every 2 weeks instead of one every week. So there are benefits to it. You always you have the one person who's supporting you throughout the whole thing. You have the best accountability buddy because they're the other person on your channel. There's definitely a lot of pros. I would say in terms of business model, definitely has worked for many people, can work. Depends on, I guess, your personal goals, and would definitely be a balance that you need to do by yourself, both individually and seeing that, okay, what's your like long-term goal and stuff. I'd say the name is fine. You can name it whatever. You can change the name whenever you want to. I would say maybe 2 first names is okay if you want to build a brand together. And if you definitely think that it will help you be more accountable, get the channel going, be more serious about it, then yeah, sure thing.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Sorry, that was very big. But...
No, it's really helpful. Thank you.
Cool, thanks, Taz. Ian, last question.
Yeah, it's just a quick one and something that Liz mentioned in a previous answer. Like, I see a lot of channels, some have intros like after their hook and some don't. Is that recommended, or do people just switch off?
Depends. Depends so much. If it's this is a very difficult one. I don't have a good answer because I have like answers for both ways. For example, Jack says whenever he doesn't include his intro, people comment saying, oh my God, where was your intro? Because they're so used to it. Even though the general recommendation is don't keep an intro because it's just one more reason for people to click off your video early on. I don't like them. I very, very rarely do mine. I don't think in my last like 10 videos, maybe I haven't even mentioned who I am, like my name, and I'm a medical student. I forget to do it now. I'm used to not doing it. I don't think it's an issue in general. In terms of having like a full intro with like a music in the background, animations on the screen, I think that's very old vlogger YouTube style. Would definitely recommend against that. If you're talking about, hi, I'm XYZ, this is what I do, probably do that because it would be helpful if someone clicks on your video to have a better idea of who you are and what your premise is for your channel. On this channel, what we do is XYZ, let's get straight into this today. That's fine. If it's something you can say in like 5 to 10 seconds, that's, I think, okay. And you can always like jazz it up in the future. So if there's something funny that you want to add to it in the future, if there's a slight small animation that you want to do, that's okay. But in general, I would say the bad ones are a full animation, please subscribe, like I don't know you, like I'm clicking off. So those I think are like bad practices, but I think the good thing to do, give the premise of your channel, say who you are very, very, very briefly, and just get straight into the topic is what I would recommend.
Right. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I would say that as well. And I think in terms of like the big graphics kind of intros, I would agree with Liz. I generally advise against them unless you are someone like Peter McKinnon, where he's got a big enough channel and he's artistic enough to make it look very good and it works with his brand. Generally, when I see them on kind of very small channels, it's a bit like it's kind of unnecessary. And again, as Liz said, it gives people another reason to click away before you've actually got into the main bulk of the video. So yeah, I would advise against them. Cool. Right, so that more or less wraps it up. We've gone a bit over, but I hope that's been okay for everyone. The office hours will all take that kind of format, so if you have any questions for particular people, then do come along. As I said, Liz is going to be doing most of the Saturday ones. Jack, Hannah, Nasir, and Liz will be kind of sharing around the Wednesday ones, so do come along to that. That wraps up week's one's schedule of events for PTYA, so hopefully we should all see you all on Monday. This session will be uploaded to the office hours part of the video vault in the next couple of hours, so keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, yeah, have a good weekend and see you on Monday.
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.